I'm on a mission. Yes, on a mission to find how people keep well. What does it really mean to keep well? We all know why we have to keep well, don't we? How do you keep well? Today's fast-paced world means we often get caught up with the daily grind. We struggle to develop or maintain practices that help to maintain our well-being. It's very easy to feel overwhelmed by the constant demands and pressure. It's so easy to get distracted, isn't it, and end up doing exactly what we know we shouldn't be doing. Having easy to digest information to guide and remind you to keep well can make a world of difference. Consider me to be your dedicated well-being partner, cheering you to achieve big dreams and goals, which is only possible by keeping yourself well, living a happy, healthy, and meaningful life. Hello, and welcome once again to How Do You Keep Well podcast. My name is Dr. Jaye. I am a general practitioner in the UK, and I have interest in women's midlife health and lifestyle medicine. I really love sharing scientific insights in a simple way to keep you going, to keep you motivated, and to help you create a positive, happy, healthy, and meaningful life. Today, it's all about feeling well. And as simple as that may sound, you probably don't realize that you do need some strategies. Or if you do, are you really keeping to it? Anyway, I would start with a nice little poem I wrote about keeping well. All is not well. When will it be well? I keep wanting to be well, but yet never do well. How can I stay well? Perhaps someone may hear me well. Maybe somebody may see me well. Or I need to raise my voice well. I really just want to be free and well. I just want to stay well and feel well. I want to do well. Yes. Stay well, keep well, do well, feel well, be well, become well, spirit, soul, and body. That is all I want. And so shall it be. I hope that kind of expresses what your mind or what your feelings might be. And we really all want to be well, don't we? We want to be able to achieve those big things that we have in minds and in our hearts to achieve for ourselves, for our family, for our friends, for our community. But you know what? Sometimes we feel a deep sense of not feeling at ease. And sometimes it's really so hard to put our finger on it. In actual fact, you have been to the doctors as you should, and they have checked all your numbers, and they actually declared that you are healthy, but you just don't feel well. Okay, let's turn this around. Let's assume you've actually had quite a significant major life event or a health event. And thankfully, it was unfortunately caught early and treated. But despite all the treatments you have, you still don't feel 100% well. And you have been given all the reassurances. Or maybe you're just getting side effects from some of the treatments you've had. Or it could be even more serious than that. Could it be that you're still going through the process of having conventional treatment, or you have actually gone through it? And unfortunately and sadly, you still remain unhealthy and unwell. I'm really sending you lots of good wishes today, but also a hope and a prayer that all works out well for you, even in your current situation. More and more, I am beginning to see the difference between healthy and being well. And to give a little bit of hope to everyone out there, I have seen people who are incredibly peaceful despite experiencing significant hardships in their health or personal lives. So I know it is possible to feel well, even if the external circumstances might be otherwise. And this is the heart of what I love doing and why I love doing this. I personally feel that health and well being are like two sides of a coin. very easy to focus on one whilst ignoring the other. And you may ask me, what's the difference between health and well being? I definitely maybe never knew there was a difference between those two things. And I really wondered why those two words were always put together, health and well being, because those two things actually work well together. But there are different, I would call, pillars within those two fields. Having both sides on a good balance is the best gift you can be giving or you can give to yourself. And the question is this: is it possible to stay and keep well, whether we feel healthy or not? You answer that question. But today's podcast episode is focusing on what I call the foundations for creating your own personalized well being assets. And I'll touch briefly on how we can discover and develop this in our lives so that we can function effectively and efficiently through our lifespan and health span. So let me just use an example of women's health challenge that we face right now, especially for women in their midlife and going into menopause. More and more, we hear a lot about hormone prescribing for women experiencing significant symptoms that is impairing their activities of daily living. And I certainly am one of the doctors that prescribe hormones for women. But in my experience, I have found that some women, despite having had hormones prescribed, even sometimes at actually large doses than usual, still continue to experience symptoms both in their health and in their well being. I've also found some women who have felt left out of this opportunity to use hormones due to one reason or the other. Some women don't want it, but at the same time, some women can't have it because of other medical conditions. So, what does that or how does that leave them? What can be done? Can anything be done to help them keep on keeping well in this period of their life? And of course, several other women who have found it very beneficial. The point I'm trying to make here is this: medications can help our health, but what if it doesn't? Or what if you can't have it for one reason or the other? What will you do? How would you still be able to address your health and well being needs when the doctor says there's no more they can do? Or maybe you can't even have access to a doctor. I believe conventional medical treatments help us to treat our health condition, but it is a two-way traffic. For our well-being, we also need to work on being intentional with taking regular steps to keep us healthy. Remember both sides of a coin. Being aware of what helps you keep well and stay well, intentionally applying these principles as well as working this in tandem with your health is really important. Unfortunately, there is no one size that fits all when it comes to well being. First of all, you need to understand what well being means to you at a personal level, and this is quite important. And in fact, I want to flip this around to say well being is being well. And the question is, what does being well mean to you? And this may mean you need to be able to identify your focus, your desired experiences, and the outcomes that you really would like to observe in your life. So, your focus, your experiences that you really want, and the outcomes that you want to observe in your life. So, for example, being well for me is actually a little bit future focused. But I realized that putting efforts now into my health and well being benefits my life now, but it also benefits my future. It gives me the freedom. Maybe I should put it this way: being well for me is to have the freedom to live life independently, feeling safe in my environment, but also leading a quiet but purposeful life into my old age. And to be able to do that, I need to take steps now, because taking steps now would add up into what I really desire for my future as well. So let's take another example for someone else. Being well for them might be just feeling well enough to work, or feeling well enough to build a legacy, or feeling well enough to just be, enjoy life. And I always allude to the fact that my name means enjoy life, Chaye. Now, these may all form the core of how we design our health and our life and our well being as we get older. Having this strong identity of what we want to be, or perhaps how we want to be well, will dictate our interests and our desires and where we channel this into. I always believe it's important to have a bigger view of our health and well being beyond these minor statements of, oh, I want to eat clean, or I want to lose weight, or I want to become fitter. Anchoring these desires into a bigger picture actually helps with creating a more sustainable plan that is easier for you to keep with. Now, before I go into this next section, I would like to add a word of warning. It's really important to seek medical help if you feel unwell, or you feel unwell and you still can't figure out the reason despite trying your best. This conversation is just to help trigger and encourage you to seek help from your professional healthcare worker, particularly if you find some of the content resonating with you. So, I want to talk about something that I hear about in a lot of women and also other people, just generally, especially in midlife. That feeling of not feeling well. People talk about feeling tired all the time, or that general sense of feeling unease without being able to pinpoint exactly why. Feeling unease is almost the same word as disease. And I find that really fascinating. Some people come to me as a doctor and they tell me things like, I'm feeling tired all the time. I feel weak when I wake up. I feel generally unwell. And sometimes it can be so difficult to describe it for some people because some of these symptoms are actually non specific. And this is very common in women in midlife. Some people actually struggle to articulate exactly how they are feeling after managing to get an appointment with the doctor. And some people come with a long list of all the different problems. And I really like this when people do that, partly because it tells me they have managed to sit down to reflect on how they are feeling and manage to write it down. Sometimes people with Malay often find it hard to put things into words, especially when they are under pressure. And they sometimes describe this vague feeling of sickness or a sense they are coming down with something. And sometimes this might be associated with tiredness, but not always. Often, one of the first signs that something is not quite right in the body or other specific symptoms have not yet appeared. I mean, very easily, some people think that, oh, it's just stress, or it's just because I'm getting older, or it could just be I'm imagining this, isn't it? Or I think it's nothing. But really, it's important to take symptoms like that, even though they sound vague, take it seriously and have it evaluated appropriately. Really important because this may be the first sign that your body needs help. For some people, this sense of feeling tired can vary in intensity. For some, it's mild, but for others, it's quite severe enough to interfere with daily activities. Even though tiredness is not a disease or a condition by itself, but it is a symptom that something else is going on in the body and it should not be ignored. Because it is so general, it can be really challenging to diagnose the exact cause without further medical investigations. And this is the reason why I personally feel so passionate about women in midlife. Very often, women in midlife just brush this kind of symptoms to the side. They bury themselves in more work, looking after the kids, or becoming or caregivers for other people. And some women actually assume that they are going through menopause and it's just part of the change, or some people feel too ashamed to discuss this, feeling it will be dismissed. To be honest with you, you do need to get yourself checked. Whether or not you know you are going through menopause or not, get a qualified personnel, a qualified professional who will give you time and space to listen to your story. And hopefully they can pinpoint you in the or point you in the right direction of treatment. Now, once you have gone through this process of getting your health checked, then it's time to become intentional with your well being. Or you feel you need to take a fresh perspective on this all. Here are some steps I would recommend. These are steps to help you discover your joy once again, to feel content, and to create your own happy space and place. Often we hear that happiness is a choice, but sometimes we really don't have a choice. Even if we are happy as Larry or you sing the song, don't worry, be happy. There'll be some intense moments of unhappiness, dissatisfaction that can weigh the spirit and soul down. And if you're going through one of those moments, there's hope for you. And these three things is what I will call the basis for creating your own well being assets: hope, faith, and love. Now, I'll start with hope. Hope is a reservoir of emotional strength. And this is where healing sometimes comes from: the confidence or expectation that things can be better or will be better. Hope itself is not an emotion, it is something that can be thought. And when I realized this, I was astonished. I thought hope was just whimsical. I hope I will get rich someday, or hope I will get well someday. But there is a difference between hope and wish. So, my dearest friend, hope involves taking action towards an expected goal. Hope involves three steps. It involves optimism, no doubt about it, motivation, and strategy. Let me give you another example from my own story. I discovered I had pre-diabetes and high blood pressure. I really hoped, or maybe I should say it this way, I wished it would go away. But it did not. Year after year, my numbers kept going high. And I was scared. I thought about the risks to my future if I do not do anything to it. Remember, for me, it's a little bit more future focused. So this was a real threat for me. Like, what if I don't deal with this problem? My goodness, I don't know what would happen to my legs. I may get it chopped off from diabetes, or I may get stroke and I won't be able to walk or talk again. And this fear was real to me. For me, the other motivation for me is that I love my children. I love my girls, and I want to see them grow into brilliant, brilliant human beings on this planet. As much as this thought excites me, nurturing my children and bringing them grow, I'm hoping they get old and be useful to the world. But I could tell that not looking after myself was going to be a threat to that. So that was my motivation. I want to stay fit and healthy into old age. So these were the three things I hoped, or maybe I should say I wished it would go away. Secondly, I had faith it would go away. And my faith strategy was to pray about it. But I took no other action. And of course, nothing changed. For me, sometimes I think I use faith as, yeah, my spiritual side of things. But I slowly understood that I needed to start loving my body, my spirit, and my soul intentionally, not just relying on my doctor brain and all its knowledge about what to do, what treatment to take, or what could even go wrong if I don't do this or that. This brain knowledge needed to be applied, and I truly needed help. But I also needed help to take my own self action. And that was my motivation. Slowly, I developed a strategy based on the fact that I needed to love my body. And this is what I have been teaching to others as well, as often as I get the chance and opportunity to. And that is why I feel it's important to have a strategy for your well being. Wishful thinking would not make illnesses go away or not come near you. If you start to lose hope, and I know this happens a lot, remember that you are not alone. You can always reach out to loved ones for help or speak with a therapist to develop strategies to regain your hope. There are other tips available to help build your hope up, and I would recommend you explore the psychology of hope if you do get a minute to. Having faith and praying will help you remain connected to God and have an agile spirit, but you do need to love your body that you have been given and look after it well. So these are the foundation of looking after yourself or your being well assets. These are the three basic foundations, and it is a foundation of hope, of faith, and of love. There are a number of different strategies available from well-being science, lifestyle medicine, and positive psychology. And if you're a self-starter and you want a step-by-step guide to help you get started, consider me to be your partner in progress. And if you would like to receive a brand new simple guide I'm writing, 12 non overwhelming actionable steps to help you keep well in midlife and beyond, then please feel free to send me an email and I'll send you one free of charge, absolutely free of charge. And the other news I have for you is that my website is launching soon. So if you wish to be the first to see it or to receive my monthly health and well-being updates, or you want this simple guide on 12 steps to take, please feel free to send me an email at info@drjaye.com. I would leave this information in the footnotes of the podcast, so feel free to contact me if you would like any of this. Wow, wow, wow. It's been a pleasure talking to you today about feeling good, doing good, keeping well, staying well. All I want to say is people will listen to me, people will hear me talk, keep well. And I hope that you keeping well will create a ripple effect on people around you and people who are watching you, people who are seeing you. That difference goes a long way, not just for your health, but for people around you as well. So, as I always say, keep on keeping well until we catch up again in the next couple of weeks. In the next couple of weeks, yeah? Yes. All right. Take care. Bye.